and welcome to your warm-up. So we're going to be seated on the ground for the entirety of this one. We shouldn't need too much equipment, but you might like to have something to bolster yourself so that sitting on the ground is more comfortable, so you can get something underneath your butt. So that might be yoga blocks like I have, or if you don't have yoga blocks, you could use a nice thick pillow or a folded up blanket or something like that. We're just going to go ahead and get started in a comfortable seated position on the ground. If you are not super comfortable sitting on the ground, you're going to go ahead and take your bolster and you're going to sit on top of it to lift yourself up, because that might feel a little bit more comfortable on your legs and on your back. And we're just going to get started with our cat-cow. So we're going to start with an inhale, lifting your chest, looking up toward the ceiling, and exhale, folding everything down, slumping, and then inhale, lift, and exhale, round. And if you get off timing with your breath, don't worry about it. Just try and breathe and move at the same time. Let's do a few more. Inhale sits you up tall, and exhale, soften. Last one, inhaling up, and exhaling round. And inhale takes you back to center. Go ahead and just tip your head gently from side to side. Maybe even take your chin to your chest and swing your head. Very slow, very gentle. Just waking up your body a little bit. Maybe make a circle in the head, one direction and then the other. If you try that on and things just feel really tight, don't worry about it. Just move wherever you can. And let's go ahead and take our head back to center. You're going to go ahead and roll your shoulders back. Don't have to make them really big. You can keep them kind of small. And then let's roll forward. Checking in, making sure that your jaw is relaxed, making sure that you're breathing. Next, we're going to go ahead and come into a figure four. So if you're nice and comfy here on your bolster, you can go ahead and just extend your leg out either to the front or to the side, whatever's the most comfortable for you. If you'd like a little bit more of a stretch, you can go ahead and take your bolster away and just extend your leg. And then here we have a few different options. We might have the flexibility to reach for our foot, but we might not. We might be here just really, really tense. Things are feeling really tight. So if you need to bend this knee a little bit, you can. And if you're feeling like you don't have a lot of forward movement, that's okay. You might try leaning back away from the stretch and leaning forward towards it and kind of rocking into where the stretch is a little more intense and a little less intense. Because that movement where you're going in and out of intensity can actually help your body to relax a little bit more, and you can get a little bit more movement that way. Checking in with your breath. Relax your jaw. And if you want to experiment with folding over the other leg that's bent, or maybe even down the center, you can feel free. Remembering that we're not trying to do anything in particular other than figuring out where our bodies are at and meeting ourselves there. If you feel good here, just go ahead and hang out with whatever you're at. If you'd like a little extra, you can go ahead and lift your arm of the leg that's bent. So you're going to lift your arm and just reach up and over. Again, this might be really intense, so don't be afraid to come out of it and go into it. Come out of it and go into it. And just really not worrying about going as far as humanly possible. I don't need you like grabbing your foot and trying to be all cool. Unless you have the room, in which case, go ham, I don't care. But just see how things feel right now. Maybe moving into a little bit deeper stretch if you have the room. But let's not make anything hurt today, and let's not force anything. Let's just show up and try and do our best as we can, which might be a little different depending on the day. Let's go ahead and come back to center. You're going to go ahead and switch to the other side, straightening one leg, tucking the other one in. If this tight movement isn't feeling good, or if this knee is really, really high, even if your hamstring feels okay, you can go ahead and take that bolster back, lift yourself up so this knee has a little bit more room. You don't win any extra points by suffering more, so please give yourself the support that you need, okay? Now this side might feel a little different than the other side. We don't know, we're just gonna find out. So we're gonna think about where we can find just a really nice stretch in the back of your leg and the back of your hamstring. Maybe that's sitting back really far, doing a little gentle rock in and out. Maybe you have a little bit more room on this side and you want to move a little more forward. I don't know. Just experiment and let's figure it out. Remembering to breathe, deep breath in and deep breath out. Relax your jaw. Maybe experimenting going over the other leg. And just meeting that hamstrings, the back of your leg, wherever it is today. Because we never want to push our hamstrings too much. That can be a way to have things get cranky or even injured, which we don't like. Now, if you are feeling really good here and this feels like enough, then go ahead and hang out doing whatever it is you're doing that's working for you. If you'd like a little extra, you can take your arm up and over, almost like you're reaching toward your extended leg with your opposite arm. If this is really intense, and you might notice more intense stretch either on your side or maybe your low back or maybe your hip, if this is more intense on one side than the other, feel free to go in and out of it. And maybe you try it on and it's just too uncomfortable and you can't keep your breath and you're making noises and weird faces and you're just, and if that's you right now, don't worry about it. Just go back to this hamstring stretch. If we make enough room in this position, we'll eventually be able to add our reach. So don't stress. We're just feeling it out right now. And something I've said before, and I'll say as many times as is needed, it doesn't matter what variation you do. All these stretches are really just suggestions for you to find the shape that feels the best in your body. And what feels good for me might feel different for you. So you might try something that works really well for you, and that's fantastic. And I want you to do that. Let's go ahead and come out of that. So we're going to inhale ourselves back to center. And next we're going to come into a butterfly where we have both of the soles of our feet pressing together and our knees are going to fall to the outsides. Now it's really common to get into this position and just feel like your knees are stuffed into your armpits. I don't have that problem because my hips are very good at going this way and not very good at going the other way. So if you are very, very tight and have your knees around your ears, you're just going to go ahead and take a seat on your bolster so that you'll have a lot more room for those hips. And if you don't have a bolster, you can take your feet and scoot them nice and far away from you so you have tons and tons of room. Because we're looking for a stretch that goes along the kind of the back of our hip, maybe the sides of our legs. You might also feel some stretch in your low back or something too. That's fine. And once we find a position that works for you, we're just going to move around a little bit. So we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we exhale, maybe you fold forward a tiny bit. Maybe you inhale, you draw yourself out, and then you exhale and you sink back in. We're inhaling out, exhaling a little deeper into that stretch. And linking your breath with your movements. And if you get off tempo or you are having trouble with that, don't worry about it. It takes practice. And if you want a little bit of a different variation, you can try maybe rocking a little side to side. And if your knees are up pretty high, you can even come back to center And then maybe take one hand to your knee and press one side down very, very gently. You can add a rock to that if that feels okay. And then maybe the other side. And then maybe you try it and it doesn't really work for you. That's okay. You can always come back and visit it again. That's why we have to practice this more than once. Very nice. If you're feeling really good here and you want a little extra, you can take that side reach. So you pick one arm up and lift it up and over. And then I even maybe like to switch from side to side. That feels fun for me. And if you try it and you don't like it, you don't have to do it. You can always try it again later. If it's not right for you right now, that doesn't mean it won't be at some point. That's nice and gentle. Just feeling out what you can do and what feels right now. Let's do one more on each side if you're doing this. And if you're rocking in and out of your butterfly or you're just hanging out, then this will be our last breath here. And then if you're on a bolster, let's go ahead and take that away to the side. And we're going to go ahead and stretch out our chest next. So I'm going to show you from the side so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to sit up tall-ish. You can slump a little if you need to, I don't care. Swing your hands back around behind you. Grab onto your wrists, forearms. Maybe you can interlace your hands. Maybe you're reaching towards your elbows. I don't care. You're looking to get your shoulders stretching back just a tiny bit. So it shouldn't feel forced or uncomfortable. If you're a little roomier, you'll probably be grabbing your hands, but if you have a little less room, you might be grabbing your forearms. No matter where you are, we're going to inhale, roll our shoulders back just a bit, and exhale. Inhaling, stretching into your shoulders, and exhale. Maybe you can lift your head if that feels good, lifting your chin up toward the ceiling. And if this is feeling extremely intense, don't worry. We can go ahead and do our inhale to stretch, and our exhale, we're going to round out of it. So maybe you release your arms a little bit. And then you inhale and lift and pull your shoulders back. And exhale, let your arms go. Release the stretch on your shoulders. Just stretching out that chest however feels good for you. Inhaling and exhaling, relaxing your jaw. When you're ready, you're going to go ahead and let that go. Go ahead and wiggle your shoulders around if you need to. And then we're going to go ahead and take our hands behind us so we can lean our weight of our body back onto our hands. If this isn't super fun on your wrists, you can go down to your elbows. Similarly, if you don't have a lot of room in your hips, being on your elbows is going to be a lot more comfortable. So why don't we go ahead and just knock our knees from side to side, leaving our elbows down for now. And if you're here and you're thinking, man, this sucks and I don't like it, why don't you go ahead and lay down all the way. I'll show you from the side. Lay down all the way so that your hips have lots and lots of room to figure out how they're feeling. But if you're feeling pretty good here and you want a little chest stretch at the same time, you can go ahead and lift yourself up onto your elbows. Neither variation is better or worse. It just is whatever suits you the best right now. There might be some days where you really just feel like flopping around very passively. Maybe you're really tired, you're fatigued. The chronic illness is chronic illnessing. And then maybe other days you're feeling a little bit more active and like it's a good choice to get a little bit more lift in your body. One more to one side and then the other. And then we're going to go ahead and come to lay on our back very briefly as I shove my bolsters out of the way. Now I just want you to take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. You're going to go ahead and if it feels good here, you're going to draw your knees up toward your chest, but it doesn't have to be very far. You can catch behind your thighs if that's comfortable for you, or the tops of your knees, and just rock a little bit from side to side. Very nice. From here, we're going to go ahead and release your feet, sitting up. And now we're actually going to be moving into a activation part of this warm up. So for this, we're going to be standing up. We're going to need a foam roller. So if you need to pause the video to go grab that right now, you can feel free. Now that you have your foam roller, we're going to go ahead and do some activations here. So we're going to be practicing our foam roller hip hinge to help us get ready for the next exercise we're going to do as part of the workout. So we're going to go ahead and take our roller, and this is easiest with a long 3-foot roller like this, but if you have a short roller, you can use it. You'll just take your hands a little bit closer together. So you're going to have your roller over your hips. I like to have my hands out in a fairly wide V, and my hands are going to press this roller into my hips. Now you're going to go ahead and externally rotate, so thinking rolling your shoulders out and down your back just a little bit, pressing those hands in. You're going to tuck your ribs, tuck your tailbone, brace the front of your belly for a nice strong core. Then you're going to go ahead and push your hips back, keeping that upper body nice and stiff from your head to your hips. Push back like you're trying to close the door with your butt. Then keep that brace of your core, stand up tall. Again, hinging back, standing up tall, nice and slow, just like this, getting this movement into your body. And if you notice that your knees are hurting, make sure that they're not traveling forward over your toes. You should be able to see all of your feet when your hips go back. Very nice. If you're feeling your low back here, check in with that bracing of the core. And then maybe even don't go quite so far. That roller should only be going to maybe the middle of your thigh or maybe just to the tops of your knees. So not super far. Let's do 2 more. And last one. And coming on up. All right. Go ahead and set that roller to the side for now. We're going to go ahead and do a lat activation next. So our lats are this big muscle that goes from our armpit to the center of our back and our kind of low mid back. Now for this, it's most helpful if we have some type of a bench thingy that we can use that's nice and solid that we can press our hands into. Or if you have a tall roller and you're about 5'3", you can use the top of the roller for this. If you don't have a bench or a counter or something like that, you can use a bookshelf, you can use a dresser, you can use even like a barbell or set up at about this like hip rib height if you're at the gym. Whatever is needed. So we're going to go ahead and think about, so we're going to stand by our counter. We're going to do one hand at a time. You're going to externally rotate your shoulder. So roll your shoulder away from your midline. Your hand is going to press into this thing that we're using to do stuff, this counter thing. There we go. Here, I will sometimes take my hand and put it across my body into my armpit so I can feel that activating. So I'm going to externally rotate, press that hand down into the counter and release, and press and release. Now, if you're feeling the top of your shoulder activating here, go ahead and roll that shoulder back just a little bit. So making sure that you're not rolling inward, but rolling outward instead. So rolling outward, and you can even think about this muscle is what's pulling your hand down, is coming from your back, not pushing from your shoulder. So try it, squeeze, release, and squeeze and release. And if you're having a lot of trouble with this, welcome to the club. Sometimes getting your lats to activate in the way that you intend can be really, really challenging. That's why we start practicing it right away. Squeeze and release. Because when I had been lifting weights for years before I realized that I had never actually been activating my lats, which is part of the reason my shoulders and my neck hurt all the time, which are the things that you hire a trainer for, so you don't have to learn that while you're just bumbling around figuring things out like I was. Let's do about 3 more on this side. As things fatigue, you might also notice some other muscles coming in. And so see if you can get those other muscles to quiet down, if so, and see if you can just get this from your lats again. And then go ahead and relax your jaw as we finish this last one. And then we're going to go to the other side. You can take that hand into your armpit. Then we're going to think shoulder down, externally rotate, so rolling that shoulder out just slightly. Shoulders down, hand presses down into this counter so that your lat can activate. Nice and slow, just like this. And maybe you start with a kind of lighter press on the hand, maybe not. And you can see here that when I'm this small on screen, it's not a big movement. There's not that much that it appears like I'm doing from across the room. But this might also be one of those things where you're feeling like this is surprisingly hard, in which case I agree and welcome to these weird activation drills. Looks like you're doing nothing. Feels like you're doing everything. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Good. Go ahead and let that go. Shake it out. Now we're going to do both of those one more time. So let's go ahead and take our foam roller, set it over our hips. Now we're actually going to use that lat activation a little bit more purposefully. So we're going to think about rolling our shoulders out, so externally rotating and rolling our shoulders out and down our back so that we can press our hands into this roller using our lats like we just were over at that bench. Then we're going to brace our core, tucking our ribs, tucking our tailbone, and then nice and stiff, head to hips, push your hips back and bring your hips up. Hinging back like you're trying to close a door, and then standing up tall. Nice and slow. Take it easy. Notice what muscles you feel working. Not even with any particular judgment. Part of what we're doing when we're figuring stuff out is just tuning in and trying to figure out what the heck our bodies are telling us, which, especially if you are chronically ill or have chronic pain, can be really hard because you're basically having your body is having a 5-alarm fire all the time, which means that you don't really know how to interpret because you're used to tuning out. You're used to tuning out your body. You're used to pushing down how you feel. And then here is actually the time where we really try and tune in instead of tuning out. Let's do 1 more. Last one. Beautiful. Let's set this roller to the side. Let's go back to our counter, and we're just going to try those activations 1 more time. Externally rotate that shoulder. Hand is on the surface. Press down. Release. And down. And release. And keep going just like that. You might notice it's a little easier this time. And if so, yay. You might notice that it's about equally as hard and you kind of feel like I'm asking you to rub your stomach and pat your head at the same time. And if that's the case, I'm right there. I was right there with you for a long time, so just keep practicing. Good, let's do 1 more on this side, and then let's switch to the other side. You can take that grab into the armpit, externally rotate that shoulder, hand presses down, and release. And if you're having trouble reaching across your chest for any reason, don't worry about it. You can just put your other hand wherever feels comfortable. Very nice. A few more here. Relax your jaw. And last one. And release. All right, so hopefully you're now feeling a little bit more ready to go do some things, whether that be the next workout or the rest of your day. So no matter where you're headed to, thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.